Stampers, this is Trevis. Are you back for more? Today's Friday, and on Tuesday we did a little bit of creativity. We actually used the Happiness Abound stamps, and we made some pretty flowers. We used some blender. We used the daubers. We used the blend markers and some ink. And I showed you some techniques with that. Today's even more fun because today we're going to use the soft pastels and we're going to use the pencils. And so, as I told you before, when you're using if you didn't watch on Tuesday, you should go back and watch. But the main thing I want to tell you is that if you're going to use a water medium, such as your water painters or your blender pens or any kind of water medium, you do want to use your StazOn ink, because the Memento ink will bleed, okay? That is designed to work with your alcohol markers. And I'm not saying that it isn't great for like a quick, a sentiment. I always use it for that. But if I'm going to be using water, I hesitate using these tools with Memento ink, okay? Not designed to work together. So, all that being said, let's get started. So the last video was like 23 minutes. This one hopefully will probably be that long too. So let's get started. Okay, so this is what we worked on Tuesday. I did stamp these. This one didn't stamp that good, so I stamped it on the back. This is a nice thick Fluid 100 watercolor paper, perfect for this tool. I'm also going to use my silicone matte craft sheet that I talked about a little bit on Tuesday. These are $6.50. I recommend everybody has one because it's great to glue on. And if you're like me, I always get a little extra glue somewhere, and then I can always put it over the top and hold it down, or just pill it up later if it's on here. Also, nothing stains it, so all good. Okay, so today what we're going to do is I have both sets of watercolor pencils. And watercolor pencils are sold on page 126 in the catalog. There's two different things. There's the small set and the larger set. These are different colors. This one is $12.50 and this one is $16. These actually have different colors in them. So this one has real red. This one has cherry cobbler. So these aren't, a repeat. If you love watercolor pencils, you're probably going to want both sets. I started with this set. This was the original set. This one came out a few years later. So also going to tell you that you don't want to over sharpen them, all right? Because you don't need them super pointy, and it'll just chew up your pencil. If you have a cheap pencil sharpener, not a good idea. You need to get a good pencil sharpener for these, okay? And I love them because they tell the color on them. This is Cajun Craze. So each color is on here. You don't have to guess. Sometimes you can't really tell, right? I don't know if this is Granny Apple Green or if it's the Garden Green. It's hard to tell, okay? So this one is actually Coastal Cabana. Who knew, okay? So these are gorgeous. I am going to be using today, I think I'm going to use the Cherry Cobbler, all right? So what you want to do with this is, and I always say you feel like an artist when you use these, because I'm not an artist. So when I use them, I'm like, ugh, looks horrible, until I bring in something to blend them with, okay? So first of all, I'm going to just color in. I'm not going to color in everything. I'm just going to color in parts of this. And if you watched on Tuesday, I talked about that Hues of Happiness designer series paper that coordinates with this stamp set, and how you can use that as your guide. You can use that as your guide to help you light and dark, see things light and dark. And so that's kind of what I discovered with this. I see these little areas, these little small areas, and I see those as the light areas now. Okay, so I'm just going to color these in with and you see that's not very pointy. I don't want it very pointy, actually. And you can see I'm kind of almost like scribbling. You're thinking, ooh, Trevis, that's ugly. No, it's going to look better in a second. And it's so easy to stay in the lines, right? It's not like using a sponge or a blender pen, what can I think of these? Blending brush. Because this is a pencil, so it's easy to stay in the lines. And these are water-based. So when I say watercolor pencils, they are watercolor pencils. If you have regular pencils and you're trying this technique and it's not working, they're not watercolor pencils. That they won't blend. Okay? All right, so we did that. Now we're going to pull in some pink. I'm going to bring some pink. Ooh, this one probably needs to be sharpened. That's a little dull, but that's okay. I'm going to bring in some pink into these small areas. This is like therapeutic to me. Not necessarily being on a video and doing it, but when I'm sitting by myself and doing this, it is almost therapeutic to me. Now I'm going to bring in my crushed curry. Ooh, I like that. Should I do that? Yeah, I think I will. Crushed curry right here in the center. Nice and dark. All right. So I have it all colored in now. Okay. So now I am going to use my water painter. Okay, so water painters come 3 in a pack. All right, so you get 3 different sizes. This one is like a brush. See, it's like a regular thick paintbrush. Cool, right? So that's the big one. And then we have the 2 smaller ones. And there's 2 different sizes. There's a small one and then a little bit bigger one, like this one. I'll show you. Open. This is brand new. So you can see the tip on that one, how much bigger it is. All right, and this one's a little bit smaller. So as you use them, you'll see this will stain, right? That's okay, no problem. I should tell you that when you open them, you have to twist backwards. I always think this to me feels like I should twist the other way, and then you can fill it with water. So they're refillable. They're just paintbrushes, right? And then you can fill them with water. You can fill them with alcohol. You can fill them with water or alcohol and put a couple drops of re-inker in them, which is a very cool technique because now you just kind of if you use alcohol, you've kind of made a blend water painter, right? And that would work well with the Memento ink. Okay. So this has water in it, and there's a little area here that says push, okay? If you push down here or you push down here, you're not going to get any water. But if you push right here where it shows to push, you're going to get a drop of water, okay? And you don't want it too wet, so I'm going to wipe a little of that off. So you need to have a little something handy. And I'm just going to blend this. And I hope you can see. I hope you're close enough. Hang on a second. I'll bring this camera down a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to blend the pink in first. What color is that? Flirty Flamingo. So I'm going to blend that first, the light color. Oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to blend all those. So what it does is it takes away all that scratchy look, and it just makes it look like nice and smooth. All right. Now I'm going to go back. Okay, I'm going to clean that off. And then I'm going to go back and blend in my cherry cobbler. I need a little more water. Don't want too much. There it is. Okay. Woo. There we go. So once you get that water down in there, and I'm not going to go totally to the edge, but it's not bleeding, right? The black is not bleeding. Why is that? Because I'm using StazOn ink. If I was using Memento ink and I was touching these black lines, yes, it would be bleeding. And it kind of gets muddled and gray. Kind of looks vintage, kind of ugly, but can be ugly. Not that I don't like vintage, I do. But I don't like, if I want it to look that way, that's great. But if I don't want it to look that way, I'm not happy. Pulling up some of this water off my hand because I had a drop there. And I can really control it that way. So if you have a paintbrush, you can do this. You don't have to have these. If you have a paintbrush, you know, go to your kids' craft room, craft area. Get one of their paintbrushes, you know, their cheap paintbrushes, and give this a whirl. And if you like it, then you'll know. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? Now, if I wanted to, I could blend in a little bit of these colors. I could actually start blending this a little more because this is watercolor paper. So it's very forgiving. Really forgiving. It's so fun. Guys, got to try it. Okay, now I'm going to clean that off and I'm going to go in. I'm going to do my center. This was my crushed curry. Oh, I love that. All right. Isn't that so pretty? Okay, so now let's do some, we have Old Olive. No, we do. We have Old Olive in this set. So I'm going to use Old Olive. You can see I've used these quite a bit. Which one's Old Olive? I think this, no, it's really espresso. I don't know which one's Old Olive. Here it is. And I'm just going to do some leaves. I mean, what could be easier than this? Get that red off that. Squeeze it a little bit. Get a little water to come down. There we go. Oh, yeah. So, even if you're not artsy, I am not. But I love to stamp and I love to try things. Give this a try. Look at that. How cool it is. So pretty. Okay, so what else can we do? Well, let's try this. Let's use our pastels. If you're like me and you saw these in the catalog, and again, they're right there with the, they're on page 126, right, with the watercolor pencils. So these soft pastels, and they're not overwhelming because there's not 40 colors, right? We've only got 8 colors. They tell you the colors. So we have Coastal Cabana, Daffodil Delight, Gorgeous Grape, Granny Apple, Mango Melody, Mossy Meadow, Night of Navy, and Poppy Parade. Now, sometimes I look at them, I think, ooh, I wish there was a real red. There isn't a real red, but that's okay. Okay, so now there's different things you can do. First of all, you can just take it out. You can pick one up, right? And you can just use it as a chalk. Then you can take your I keep wanting to say aqua painter. It's not an aqua painter anymore. It's a water painter. Ooh, I really plastered that on there. But look. Oh, it's gorgeous. So beautiful. That's Poppy Parade. And it's beautiful. I love it. Okay. Or you can do this. Clean that off. Got to make sure you clean all that off because it'll take to the next color. I really went crazy. It's really on there. Okay, I think it's off. Okay, so now you can take your pick tool, and you can actually, I always keep this as my point that I'm using, but you can take it and you can flip it to the spatula side, and you can actually take some of your chalk and you can scrape a little off onto your craft sheet. Here's another use for your silicone craft sheet. Okay. Then you can pick it up off of there. So now I can pick it up off of here. So I can actually make like a palette. Look at that. Ooh, I love it. Okay, now I'm going to color with that. So I'm going to just take that and use that as my color medium. And the cool thing about this is it gets light and dark. Starts out dark and it gets lighter, obviously, as you have less on your brush. So you can come back and you can do your own shading. Oh, I hate it when I do that little thing. I have to stop doing that. Don't know where that came from. I found one video I do that like constantly, and I'm like, ugh, stop. I hope you don't listen to my videos and like things drive you crazy, because that drives me crazy on that one. So look at that. So can you see where I went light and dark? Like right here, I'm going to go a little darker. And again, this watercolor paper is perfect for this because it is forgiving, and you can come back and you don't get that. If this was just regular white, basic white cardstock, and I did this, it would be like synced into the paper, and you wouldn't be able to come back and work it. Hope that makes sense. Now you can see, you can bring in more water. And as it gets lighter, you come back and do your light areas. But look at that. I think I don't use this enough. I think I'm gonna start making cards with this all the time. It's gorgeous. So we used to sell like a big thing of chalks, but I think they just were overwhelming. The amount that was in there, I think it was just overwhelming. And so this is like the perfect size. And they're only $9. So, I mean, it is really a great bargain. And it's a great way to... So if you don't have the blends and you don't have a lot of the tools that you're thinking, oh, I need, just get these. Look at all the colors and all the things you can do with them. Okay, so I am almost done, and I'm going to show you the finished product. So just that little bit of chalk did this whole flower. That's so pretty. Gorgeous grape. That's gorgeous grape. Okay, so anytime you want, you can bring in more color. You can bring it in lighter and darker. Oh, I can't really go too much lighter, but you can bring in darker. So there you go. There's that. All right. So I've shown you now in 2 days, I've shown you quite a few different things, how to do watercoloring. And hopefully I showed you some techniques. If you have any questions, be sure to contact me and let me know. I've been stamping for 22 years, so I do know a lot about the products. Like I said, I'm not an artist. So if you're looking to take a class on, you know, how to see something light and dark, I'm not good at that. But I am good at like helping you if you want to learn different techniques. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Bye.